waiting for. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Every day you're walking by and I can see how you shine. Here I am alone with nothing but a dream that you are mine. Just exactly what I'll do, I don't know, baby, but I gotta find a way to reach you. Tell me what I gotta do to get to your house. Tell me where I gotta go to be with you. Tell me what I gotta say to speak to your heart. Tell me what I need to know tonight.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
The Audio Genius.
Get in on the conversation with Rufus Williams and the Morning Show at 591-1690. We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Good morning, and welcome to Wednesday. It is the 22nd of July, the year 2026. It's the Rufus Williams Show, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, Rufus is back. So happy to be back here in the studio, happy to be back on the air, and glad to be here with you. Looks like the team's all here. The co-chairs of the Roo crew are online. T-Dub's here, Annette's here. First of all, I want to thank Abdul for sitting in for me for the last few days. I'm sure you've appreciated another perspective coming from Abdul. I didn't have a chance to hear it because if I had a chance to hear it, I would have been on the air. But that's how it was as I was traveling. Annette, it was 106 degrees where I left yesterday. What is this stuff that's going on here?
You know, the weather has taken just a major turn. I mean, I went from wildfire smoke, 90-degree temperatures, humidity, to now it feels like fall. So, you know, it's a lot going on. There's some severe weather happening too in the south and along the coast. And there are a couple, not hurricanes, but just some really bad things happening right now.
Well, that's something. Well, I was in Dallas for the last 5 days or so. I don't even know how long. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. But it was 106 degrees when I left there, and it was supposed to get hotter as things went along. As it turned out, for the most part, when I was there, even through the weekend, I had on a suit and tie, with tuxedo and tie. So we had a lot of stuff going on, even though it was hot outside.
You've got a lot going on. It's good to see you. It feels like you've been gone for quite a while, but I'm glad to have you back.
It feels like it too, although as I just mentioned, nothing ever stopped. And it's been, well, thank you for that. It's been a continuum, but I'm fired up. The place where I went, a gathering of really distinguished, incredible men and their incredible wives who also in many ways very distinguished on their own. Just a lot going on as we kind of look to move forward. I'll tell you about it as much as I can, or some, not as much as I can, but some, as we have the opportunity to. T-Dub, what's happening with you?
Good morning, Rufus. Welcome back. You were missed.
Well, hey, that says a lot. Hey, man, what's ESPN doing? Ryan Clark, Cam Newton?
I honestly don't know what's going on. I mean, when I was watching ESPN, ironically, that day, they fired Ryan Clark while he was on the air.
Well,
it just went to commercial break, and then he was gone. So it's just one of those things like they're cutting most of the black people. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just me that's noticing that. But, yeah, Cam Newton, too. I was really surprised about that because I thought he was doing great on First Take. So I don't know what's going on over at ESPN. There's allegedly a couple more firings about to happen. Two of their morning anchors are going to probably get the axe. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Look, folks, might as well stop watching ESPN. Just tune into this show.
Yeah.
We'll cover everything at all that you need right here. There was a shooting in my neighborhood while I was gone.
I saw that this morning.
And, folks in Lincoln Park don't play that. So the Dime, whatever it was, bar, nightclub, it's closed for at least 6 months. And when that happens, it's probably going to be closed forever, like so many other places do. There's a big meeting to talk about it tonight. And as I think about that, Titus, I wish the same kind of thing would happen in our neighborhoods, in the Black neighborhoods. When something happens that should not happen, there should be an outcry. There should be an outpour, and people should stand up, stand out, call whoever it is, meet, and stop it from happening. There's Titus just heard he thinks a dog bark out.
That was weird. Okay.
You probably did. I hear the same thing back here.
So I think I need to close this door.
I know, right? That was weird. They did a little bit of an outcry. I don't know if you were aware of this, but the bar on 75th and I believe right back King Drive, the 50-yard line, it looks like they're permanently closed because of a fight and a shooting that happened not too long ago. So I think they're going to be closed forever now as well.
The 50-yard line?
Yeah.
Where are people supposed to step?
I have no idea, but I saw it on the news a couple of days ago, and there was a little bit of outcry about a shooting that happened and a fight that broke out there. So I think it's some of the same thing that's happening.
Annette, where are we going to step if we can't go to the 50-yard line?
I have not a clue.
Where the suit's going to be worn, where the gator's going to be worn, where the hat's going to be worn. This is a problem.
What's that name of that place on 87th Street?
I don't know.
Licorice Lounge or something?
Licorice Lounge.
Yeah, maybe they'll go there.
Donna Grant's joint. All right. I will tell you this. While I was in Dallas, don't do it in this moment, but do it after the show. I heard two absolutely phenomenal preachers who were so inspirational and so on point with where we are and what's going on. It was just only part of how the weekend was spent. One of them we know well. It was none other than the Reverend Otis Moss III.
He's everywhere.
He is everywhere. He was doing stuff here. He flew down there, gave us some incredible words. He talked about trees in his speech, and that was kind of the theme, and how in his studies, it is where the strongest trees go in and make sure that the weakest trees can be stronger. And so as you kind of look and take that and extrapolate it over society, over our community, it is where we, the strongest, have to go in and make sure that those who need the most are getting what they need. And it was really powerful in the ways in which, as you know, the good Reverend puts it together. Spent a lot of time with his mom and dad down there too. They were there longer than he was. And there was a party at Gillies Western. And as they were waiting, we were talking to them in the lobby and waiting for the bus to take folks over. It was just fun to watch Mrs. Moss turn around and see all the folks come through in their Western gear. I said, oh my, this is okay. Well, I'm going to catch this video of you doing the Texas two-step when we get there. But that was powerful. And then the other one, and this was just amazing. It is Pastor David Wesley of Alfred Street Baptist Church in Virginia. If you go to Alfred Street Baptist Church and look up Alfred Street Baptist Church, Here We Go Again, you will hear the sermon that we heard. And it was it's so unbelievably powerful the way he puts this together after he reads the scripture. And he says, here we go again. And then he says, Nolan Xavier Wells is a name we never should have known. And then he tells the story and he pulls it together. And it is just so unbelievably powerful. And in the end, as they do, he leaves you with hope. But it's really takes us to a place that these pastors we have who preach the gospel and intertwine it with social justice. I mean, there's no better messages that you can get, and we were able to get all that. I also met Annette in person, finally, Victor Glover Jr. In fact,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, even though I interviewed him a few years ago, and we played it here a couple of times, and it's on Vine TV. Go to Vine TV, check it out. It's really amazing. But yeah, after there were in this space, there were 5 Black astronauts, and it was just powerful and phenomenal to see them, and then to go up and spend a little time chatting with him about our interview that we had some time ago. But these guys, when they talked about how they connected one to the other, to the other, to the other, it was just so powerful and so inspiring just to be in that space with these men. So many good things were happening where I was this weekend. It was just so unbelievably wonderful. Annette, have you been eating lettuce? You've been having lettuce?
I've steered far, far, far away from lettuce, not just lettuce, but cilantro, parsley, any leafy green vegetable in recent times.
And raspberries, I understand. All these things right now, this I think it's Tyler Farms said they got a false positive, but what it does, explosive diarrhea it says everything.
Yeah, just explosive sickness and just being uncomfortable. And I feel sorry for Taco Bell. They're kind of like the fall guy in all of this. And this is not the first time Taco Bell has made a whole lot of people very, very sick.
Yeah. Let's stay away. Let's take a quick break. I've got guests coming up. We got some time at 8:00.
Well, before you go to break, real quick, I just got a call from Terrence. She said that I just forgot the pastor's name from Virginia, who just said he will be actually
Pastor
at Trinity
David Wesley
this week.
He did what?
He will be at Trinity this week.
He'll be at Trinity this week. These guys are doing it, and in fact, I just saw that after he left us, he went to Vegas and hung out with the AKAs and did some stuff. So look, if he's going to be at Trinity, and I when I saw Pastor Moss, I said, my good Kappa brother threw down yesterday. He said, man, I love him. I said, yeah, but I know all we're going to get is even more from you. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Anyway, take a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, is an emergency life-saving procedure performed when cardiac arrest happens, when someone's heartbeat or breathing has stopped. Cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death in the world. Friends, knowing CPR can save lives. This is heart survivor Pam Morris Walton. The American Heart Association is committed to being a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier lives, so heart survivors like me can have more time to celebrate milestones. With CPR, the power to save a life is in your hands. You don't need medical training to learn, just knowledge, courage, and the willingness to act. Cardiac arrest can happen anywhere. Don't wait for help, become the help. Performed immediately, CPR can double or triple a person's chance of survival. CPR is a civic duty. Learn CPR or find a CPR class at heart.org/nation. That's heart.org/nation.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, The Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
This report is brought to you by RockAuto.com. A bent tie rod can quickly bring a drive to a halt. For parts needed to get back on the road, visit RockAuto.com. Find a wide selection of quality parts at reliably low prices, delivered right at your door. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Nothing like yesterday. We're starting out with a high volume of traffic this morning. Already 20 minutes along the Ryan from 95th Street into downtown. Now, so far, so good along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial each way. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, we are seeing just some minor delays northbound right around Roosevelt Road. That's mainly due to the street closures in and around Grant Park right now because crews are setting up for Lollapalooza. The Stevenson starting off at 40 minutes in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 40 traveling out. Already a 50-minute trip along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 45 on the return trip, and the Kennedy heavy in. You're looking at 40 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, a 36-minute trip to the airport. Taking a look at our weather, we're getting a break from the heat, and you'll get a break from the AC today. Temperatures on the mild side. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of only 73. Tonight, temperatures are dipping down into the 60s. Right now, we're seeing some partly cloudy skies and 62 at Midway. It's 62 in Chatham and 62 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Flanoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
As concerns over youth mental health continue to grow, so does the debate over how to help. But new nationwide research suggests that there is no simple fix. Rather than focusing on technology restrictions alone, voters and parents are calling for a broader approach that includes digital literacy, mental health support, and practical tools to help families navigate today's connected world. Joining us is Glen Weiner, the Executive Director of the Coalition to Empower Our Future. Glen, good morning and welcome to WVON.
Thanks for having me on, Rufus.
No, it's wonderful to have you. Talk to us about the coalition. What is it and what do you all do?
Sure. The Coalition to Empower Our Future was formed because we saw sort of a blank space in the discussion around youth mental health. There was a lot of focus on sort of a narrow solution, and we thought there was an opportunity to broaden the aperture and talk more, convene a conversation to talk more about the sort of wide range of solutions that are required to address the issue of youth mental health.
Fantastic. Glen, who do you convene and how does that happen? Who are the people who get involved?
Sure. We have a number of organizations that represent a variety of perspectives on youth mental health. And we conduct events. We bring together local community leaders and talk about these issues with the aim of developing solutions, and then we also sort of lift up solutions that we feel can help address this issue.
So in the research that you've done, what does this new research tell us about how parents and voters are viewing youth mental health?
Yeah, there was one finding that really came through loud and clear, and that was that parents, 3 in 4 parents, told us that youth mental health is complex. And they talked to us about a variety of factors. They talked about family dynamics and social isolation, academic pressures. I'm a parent myself, and I can relate to overscheduling of our kids. There's exposure to violence and overuse of devices, and just the stress of growing up. It can be really, really challenging here. But if we focus on just one aspect, like bans, like restricting access to technology, we could really miss the forest from the trees.
There's a lot that was in there that you shared. You are, as you mentioned, a parent. What surprised you in the research that you found?
Yeah, it was really interesting how sort of uniform the consensus was. Again, we're talking about 75% of parents told us that they were concerned about the potential negative consequences of taking a more narrow approach. They understand that, if we, limit access to technology, kids are going to miss an opportunity to be able to, effectively use these tools that are going to be necessary to their, to their future success. And they, understand that we need things like, media literacy and other ways of helping them navigate this challenging environment.
I want to talk a bit more about digital literacy, because when you think about some of the things that we know lead to some of the issues that our teens are having, loneliness being one, depression being another, and very often it's technology that gives them the opportunity to do that. But talk about this whole concept of digital literacy and why that's becoming as important as reading and math and other things that they need as they grow.
Yeah, and it really is. It's sort of a foundational skill. We need kids to know how to use these technologies effectively to avoid, harmful or potentially misleading information. And more importantly, to learn to use them in ways that, are empowering. A ban, unfortunately, ignores that problem and doesn't allow us to equip our kids and our parents to be able to use these technologies appropriately.
Well, really important, but talk about that a bit more as you talk to these parents. How can parents help their children become healthier and have healthier digital habits without disconnecting them from what you say is so important, we know is important for them in this digital space?
Yeah, I mean, parents are at the the heart of this, right? They know their kids best. Every kid is unique. Every kid has, and every situation has its own set of factors. But it's the parents who are in the best position to understand what boundaries should be set that are appropriate for that specific child. But it's interesting because as much as parents are the ones who we really want to empower, they're telling us 90% of them told us that they didn't necessarily feel comfortable. So we need to make sure that just as we educate our kids about how to use technology through media literacy, we need to give resources to our parents so that they can help their children effectively navigate these spaces.
Absolutely, because they're way ahead of us in so much of this. And in order to monitor it, we've got to catch up to where they are and understand what's good, what's not, screen time, FaceTime, and really how we get this high tech and high touch happening together to try and help the lives of our children.
Absolutely.
You've done this work. Where can we go for more resources and more information on the work that you've done here?
Yeah, sure. So the EmpowerOurFutureCoalition.com website has a number of resources that are worth taking a look at. There's also an opportunity to engage in the conversation. So for folks who are interested in doing that, I would encourage you to take a look at the website and join us in the conversation. It's so critical.
Fantastic. EmpowerOurFutureCoalition.com. Jeff Weiner, Glen Weiner. We need you to shorten that website going forward.
We'll work on that.
You come back next year. We need something a little bit simpler than that. But
it's a complicated problem with a long website.
There you go, a lot. EmpowerOurFutureCoalition.com. Jeff Weiner, Glen Weiner, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
No problem. Take care, Rufus. Have a good one.
Yeah. Let's find out from Annette what else is going on in the news. Got much more for you when we come back after this.
Partly cloudy skies this morning and a lot milder today. Temperatures topping out in the low 70s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. Later this morning, an independent autopsy of 18-year-old Nolan Wells will be released today here in Chicago. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump will join the family at a news conference at the 117th NAACP National Convention to announce the preliminary findings. Meanwhile, a new video has surfaced that could be the college football star on the day he went missing off the Mississippi coast. TMZ posted a video they say was recorded July 4th on Horn Island. The clip shows the back of a male bending over, wearing shorts similar to the ones Nolan was wearing on a picture taken the same day. Wells was found dead in the water on July 6th, just off the coast where he and friends were on a boating trip. They came back. He did not. Well, it looks like it's going to be a busy day ahead at City Hall. A lot to discuss. One Chicago alderman is expected to introduce an ordinance focused on buying back the city's parking meters. Jason Irving of the 28th Ward proposes the city offer up $2.5 billion to buy them back. He says the future revenue could help the city with the struggling pension fund. Now, Stone Peak is the New York-based company looking to buy it from the first owner who purchased the rights back in 2008. Stone Peak is threatening to sue if the deal doesn't go through. The council has a July 24th deadline to approve the sale. And Mayor Brandon Johnson is touting youth summer employment in Chicago. The mayor announced that nearly 29,000 young people have been hired for summer employment opportunities through Chicago Youth Works. Participants have spent the summer working in city departments, sister agencies, aldermanic offices, and local businesses. The city is on a pace to hit its summer youth employment goal for the fourth year in a row. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 7:32.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
Some people wait for the future, others build it. WVON proudly presents the 2026 40 Game Changers Under 40. This year, it's a compass celebrating the navigators of next. Do you know an entrepreneur, community change agent, rising executive, educator, innovator, or a creator who is 40 or under and doing great work to help shape the future of Chicago? Or is that someone you? Now through July 17th, we're taking nominations. Visit 40gamechangers.com to submit your nominee. And then keep listening for updates on this year's exciting celebration. In 2026, our compass is on the navigators of next, because Chicago's future belongs to the people bold enough to lead it. Sponsored by BMO.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com. A failed strut can turn any drive into a rough ride. When it's time for repairs, Rock Auto makes finding the right part easy. Shop name brands at lower prices and have parts shipped directly to your door. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
WVON traffic and weather now.
These travel times are ramping up pretty quickly. Along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you're looking at a 15-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson right now, slow at Marquette, right around Hayes, and then again at Roosevelt Road and stop and go to Monroe. As you make your way along the Ryan, now a 21-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Getting there, however, along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you'll still move close to the posted speed. The Stevenson Heavier at a 47-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, still 40 traveling out. You're now looking at 55 minutes on the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. That outbound trip will take you 45 minutes. And heavier in both directions on the Kennedy, just bumped up to 45 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, a slow-moving 42-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, we are getting a bit of a break from the heat. The National Weather Service says we're headed for a daytime high of only 73. No AC tonight. It's going down to 60. Right now, we're looking at 62 at Midway. It's 62 in Chatham and 62 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Fernoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now back to the morning show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You know, earlier in the show, I mentioned the strength of the services that I heard from Dr. Howard John Wesley and from Reverend Otis Moss III, and being in the presence of Reverend Otis Moss Jr. What's been disappointing is that I have yet to hear that the Archdiocese has freed Father Pfleger to come back amongst us. And it's problematic on so many levels. I shared last week the rap sheet of this accuser. It seems that there is nothing there that makes any sense. And I know that the congregation is prepared, ready for him to come back. Yolanda Adams was stepping in, which is wonderful to have. But these voices are so important for us, and so important for our spirits, and so important for our work in this moment. So, Cardinal Supich, move with the quickness. We need Father Pfleger back amongst us, because those words and those spirits we need every single day. Free Father Pfleger. Happy to have my next guest join. He is an entrepreneur, an investor, an author. He's founder of the Strategies Forum. He's a co-founder, managing partner of Candor Capital Partners. He's on the board of directors of Signature Bank. He has done a number of things, but he's here because one of the things that he does in his writing and his sharing is talk about networks and what you need and who you need and how these things work. His newest book is called Know Who You Know. His name is Jeffrey Meshell. Jeffrey, good morning and welcome to WVON.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Good to have you. So it's often said it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you kind of bring that to the front. Talk about why that's so important.
Well, look, every day we put one foot in front of the other, we move forward. Every day we meet people. Every day we're speaking to people. You know, when you think about that, everyone you talk to is an asset, someone that's valuable to you, which you may or may not realize. And if you take the time, I collect people. I have 15,000 people in my personal database, and when I meet somebody, I put them in my database, not just their name and telephone number and their email address, where I met them, how I met them, the date that I met them, something they shared with me about themselves. And I go to LinkedIn to see who they know that I know. I might call, say, hey, you know Steve, I'm good. Oh, yeah. And that turns it into possibilities. If you don't open your mouth, nothing happens. And if you're not cognizant of who you know and who you need, you're avoiding the benefit of the asset of relationships.
You know, so often we're in conversations when we meet people and we find out something about them, and then we try to make a connection with who they know, who we might know, who that might be in common. But what you're suggesting that you do is you really bring this to an art form, that you make sure that you have these connections, captured.
Well, I don't know if I would call it an art form. I would call it a discipline. It's almost commonsensical that everyone we need is a resource, someone that can be meaningful to us in our lives. It's just a discipline to be, responsible to recognize that. And, I have so many stories, and some of which are very significant that are in the current book, Know Who You Know, that things just happen because you show up and you live your life that way. For me, it's a passion. I don't look at it as a business. I love helping people. I love going out of my way. I love making a difference. And I literally, when I meet people, I'm listening what they're telling me, and I'm simultaneously, I have a good feeling about them. I'm thinking about who I can introduce them to and be meaningful for them. I want nothing for that. I don't live in a world of quid pro quo. I live in a world to make a difference.
So talk about some of those stories that you have in your book that you've heard. You've heard some of these amazing stories from your connections, powerful human interest stories, overcoming odds. Tell us some of these, some of the stories that we get to learn in your book.
Well, I'll share a story that it talks to the meaningfulness of who you know and what happens. I'm finishing the book. I'm like 16 or 17 chapters in, and for me, things just pop into my mind and potentially turn into content. And that's what I was thinking about. I said to myself, who in your life had a big impact on you? Now, Rufus, I'm saying that to you right now, and I want you to like sit back and say, who in your life had a big impact on you? And I bet you're thinking of somebody, and so are all your listeners. If your listeners are hearing the question, there's someone in their life that really was an inspiration or meaningful. For me, when I thought of that, the name immediately came into my mind. I'm thinking about this person. I said, wait a second. This could be a really interesting chapter in the book. Who in your life had a big impact on you? Know who you know. There's a correlation. So I decided to send an email out to 80 people in my database. This turned out to be 80. And I took the potential chapter's title, I put it into the subject matter, and I wrote, I'm currently writing my fourth book. Title is Know Who You Know. I'd ask you to look at the subject matter. I'd ask you now to pause, become self-reflective, rewind the tape. If you have a story about someone in your life that was so meaningful to you, that was a guiding light, that gave you the most incredible opportunity, or changed your life in such a meaningful way, and you're willing to take the time to share the story with me, I potentially will include your story in the chapter. I'd ask you to exclude your mother, father, direct relatives, someone separate and apart. As an example, I'll start. Marty Jamal. I get a job in 8th grade working in an electronics store in Penn Station in New York City. And this is a store that had no fixed prices. It's like they're out of business tomorrow. They all sorts of chicanery. It was completely, you had to judge your customer, try to get the most you could get out of it. It's kind of funny. They had fake words. And I started off as a messenger. I was a kid. I was in 8th grade. Marty liked me right away. Said, you got to get behind the counter. You got to learn how to sell. And I did. I became their best salesman. I literally sold somebody their own camera lens. I'm not proud of that, but I actually did. And over the time, from 8th grade all the way through college, I went running the stores. I learned how to look people in the eyes. I learned how to sell. I learned how to judge people. And most importantly, I learned and became very confident. All those skill sets and attributes are the foundation of my business success. Thank you, Marty. You changed my life. If you have a great story, please send it to me. I hit send to 80 people. 23 people sent me stories. Another 20 called me. The second story I received was from a guy that I had not seen in 20 years. He said, Jeff, you wouldn't know this, but I worked in the World Trade Center. And I was at work on 9/11. And the plane, first one, hit directly above me, 3 flights above us, and a piece of it went through our window. I got hit, my arm, leg, and shoulder. I was bleeding. I was on the floor. Everything's on fire above us. It's smoke. I can't see. I really thought I was going to die. I realized the only way I was going to save myself is to try to get to the stairwell, which I did. I'm going down the stairs. I'm in terrible pain. And all of a sudden, firemen start to pass me. One fireman stops. He says, give me your arm. He takes my arm, puts it over his shoulder, and he walks me down 70 flights of stairs. The entire time, he and I are speaking. I get to the 10th floor with him. He says, Bob, get out of the building. Get out as quick as you can. Get as far away as you can. I got to go back up and do my job. And I got out of the building. I got away from the building. And shortly thereafter, it collapsed. And Frank was killed. I was devastated. This man saved my life. My wife and I immediately reached out, found his wife. We embraced her. We got very closer. She had 2 babies. My kids are the same age. Today, they're like brothers and sisters. We spend our holidays with her. Thank you, Frank. You saved my life and gave me a second family. That story's in the chapter. So, pretty cool story, right?
I got chills as you were telling that story, just thinking about what those things are. Obviously, your book is titled Know Who You Know. Was there a theme that you got in all the stories, or is there anything other than that came through in the stories that people shared back with you?
You know, it talks to what I said earlier in our conversation. You know, knowing who you know, you never know where things come from. It's just about showing up. And, you know, me, because I've fit so many people, I could hit a button and hit send, and it turns into something. In this case, it turned to a chapter in the book. I actually created a company by sending an email out. So collecting people and really knowing who you know, and things just happen if you become disciplined about this. And I've got so many stories. There's so many really cool stories in this book that will also, other stories will give you chills. But, you know, there's a lot of practical knowledge as well.
Yeah, Jeff, how do you really get to know your network of connections in a meaningful way that allows you to improve your life, whether it's professionally or personally?
Well, I'll give you an example as of this moment. I'm in my car now driving to a meeting to someone I never met before that was introduced to me through someone that I just met. And, you know, I spoke to this guy for a few minutes on the phone. Interesting guy. I said, let's have some coffee. I'm not selling him anything. I'm not looking for anything. I'm going to go sit and talk to this gentleman. Seems like a very nice guy, and you never know what comes out of it. You never know who he's going to introduce me to. You never know what possibility develops, but it's all about showing up. I do this all the time. I mean, I'm not exaggerating telling you that literally every day I meet somebody new. And I either get in front of them or I have a conversation, phone call. And, over my term and being alive and being in business, I've gotten so good at this. It's turned into so many amazing things. If we become more disciplined about this, if your listeners are listening and they start doing this more often, there'll be major dividends that will come.
I've got so many questions for you, but I need to take a quick break. We're talking to Jeff Meshell. His book is titled, current book is titled Know Who You Know, Connect Deeply, Succeed Fully. We'll be back more with Jeffrey right after this.
More of the morning show with Rufus Williams coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
They call this one Bill.
Whoa, aliens? Am I in a spaceship?
Affirmative, Bill.
What's with the laser saw?
Relax. We are cutting our bill in half.
What?
An Xfinity mobile transmission says you can cut your bill in half.
Oh, your mobile bill, not me, Bill.
Xfinity Mobile also says we can try it free for a year. Free.
Yes, with no commitment. Can we put the saw away?
I am reluctant. But we will find another being to bisect.
That's not sci-fi. It's Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity Internet members cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. No commitment. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings compares one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes, fees, extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community that we can shop, dine, and support throughout the year. These businesses are the economic engine that drives our neighborhoods. Wintrust knows that. That's why they're Chicago's bank and why they're encouraging you to shop local. Keep listening for the Wintrust Community Business Spotlight campaign. With Wintrust, shopping small is a big deal.
When you play the 7X Bingo Multiplier Instant Ticket from the Illinois Lottery, you play with purpose. Over $8.4 million has been raised to help support homelessness programs in Illinois. Purchase one to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 years or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com. A failed strut can turn any drive into a rough ride. When it's time for repairs, Rock Auto makes finding the right part easy. Shop name brands at lower prices and have parts shipped directly to your door. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Unlike the traffic, these travel times are moving up pretty fast. You're looking at a 22-minute trip along the Ryan from 95th Street to downtown. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you'll see a slowdown right around Kingdon Slow and stop and go to the Ryan. 103rd Street along the Bishop Ford to the Ryan. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, now a 16-minute trip from 67th Street to Jackson. Slow right around Hayes, then again right before Soldier Field, then stop and go to Monroe. That's mainly due to the street closures in and around Grant Park due to setup for Lollapalooza. If you're on the Stevenson, you're now looking at a 50-minute trip in from I-355 to DuSable Drive 45 traveling out. The Eisenhower, now an hour. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound a 50-minute trip. And the Kennedy, no changes there. 45 minutes still in from O'Hare to downtown. That outbound trip to the airport, now a 45-minute trip as well. Taking a look at our weather on the cloudy side today, we will get a break from the heat. Temperatures topping out in the low 70s, quite mild today. Temperatures right now in the low 60s. It's 62 at Midway, 63 in Greater Grand Crossing, and 63 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Keep your eyes on the road and both hands on the steering wheel. We will not be held responsible for any accidents. It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. You know, Chicago is a happening place in the summertime. Everybody I spoke to, every place I've gone, the message is the same. There's no better place to be in the summertime than Chicago, Illinois. And this weekend is no different. You want to join the mayor, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events as they celebrate Chicago's gospel sister, our very own Pam Morris Walton, during the Chicago Gospel Music Festival this Saturday at Millennium Park. Legends deserve their flowers, and after 4 decades of being a minister of gospel music in Chicago, it is Chicago's turn to celebrate a living legend. It's Pam Morris Day at the Gospel Festival here Saturday, July 25th. Be there, be there, be there. We will see you there. Back to my guest. His name is Jeffrey Meshell. He's talking to us about Know Who You Know, the title of his book, and the connections that we can and should make as we go through. Jeff, tell us this, because you talked about some of these stories and some of these connections that have been made. Talk about why it's important to go out of your way to help others and make a difference in their lives, even when it doesn't mean anything to you.
You just blacked out for a second. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, so talk to us about why you should go out of your way to help others and improve their lives, even when it doesn't do anything for you.
It comes to character. I think, and when people ask me what I do business-wise or what I do in general, I give them an answer, which is I'm a salesman. I have to make a difference, and making a difference encompasses a lot of things. I get such pleasure if I do something and the person benefits. It's this really great feeling. Without the concept of what's in it for me, you live your life that way. One, it feels really good, but two, it does come back. I've been introduced to situations or opportunities or people that become very meaningful to me that benefits me because I live my life that way. There are different types of people. There are givers and there are takers, and I'm a giver. I think it's much more fulfilling. I'm sure all your listeners are listening, know people that it's all about the people that they know. They're just about themselves. They're takers. You talk to them, they don't even hear you because they only think about themselves. And from my perspective, those are people that I don't really want to have in my life. I like being around people that are givers.
Jeff, as people think about these relationships, and certainly those of us, many of us, we know a lot of people as time goes along, but now we are into the space of digital and social media. What can we do to improve our social media profile and our posts that would help us seem more appealing to the kind of people that we will want to attract?
I'm very skeptical about social media. As good as it is and as fun as it is, and, draws you in, it's also extremely dangerous. There's so many components of it that people don't even realize, one of which I'm involved in a foundation regarding law enforcement, the police, and human trafficking is the #1 crime problem in our country, literally, a lot of which comes from social media. People are taken or grabbed out of social media, or they're induced by fake things. But social media has, it's fun, and pictures, you see things. It's also very dangerous, and you just got to be very, very careful of what you do with it. For me, I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't, other than looking to see what someone I meet, who they know that I know, I really don't use it so much. When we post some of the deals I do, we buy buildings and I'll put them up, but I'm very careful about content. Now, my personal social media, Facebook or Instagram, I rarely post things, and if I do, it's some innocuous picture because I'm a little leery. It's a very dangerous thing. Just be very careful. It has a benefit, but also has a very serious detriment.
Good information. So as you develop your relationships, yours are more person to person or connection to connection that connects you to other people directly.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Jeff, appreciate you. Appreciate your book. Know Who You Know. It's available wherever you get your books. What's the one thing that you want to leave us with?
Look, if what I shared today made a difference to your listeners, then I accomplished something and I made a difference. I would only say to everyone, hear what I say. Take the time to make a difference in other people's lives. Start collecting people. Put them in your database, how you met them, put content, think of who you know that you can introduce to them. Go out of your way. It's fulfilling, you'll make a difference, and you'll also, get substantial dividends in your life if you do so.
Jeffrey Meshell, his book is titled Know Who You Know. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us, and enjoy your meeting this morning with your new friend.
I appreciate it very much. And I'll just leave with, if you buy the book on Amazon, and for those who take the time to buy it and read it, I really appreciate you go on Amazon and put up a review. So far, I've only gotten 5-star reviews, and that would be helpful, and I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thanks for being with us again. Be well.
Bye.
So I mentioned this event that I went through over the last 5 days. I will tell you, there was one night, we had entertainment as well. One night was Anthony Hamilton. Another night was Eric Benet. And before Anthony Hamilton, for that dinner, we got a surprise. Guess who it was, Titus?
Okay, so you list Anthony Hamilton, Eric Benet. I'm going to go with maybe Alicia Keys or something.
Titus, it was Morris Day and the Time.
Oh, even better.
It was Morris Day, came out rocking. It was a surprise. No, he wasn't in the photo in the program or any place. And you know what song he sang?
777.
He sang Cool.
Yeah, cool. Please tell me you got a picture with him.
He sang. I didn't, because I did not get a picture with him. I did not get a picture. I should have done that. Should have gotten up there, should have found them. I didn't. I was doing other stuff. But I did record them performing, right? And one of the things that I've always looked to do, because this is clearly my theme song. He was singing COOL. I was singing RUFUS as it was happening. But somebody suggested early on that I needed to dance when my song came on. It was Pata when he used to come on with us. And I watched what Morris Day does while this song is playing. You know what he does?
Just what, turn and spin or something?
He doesn't do anything.
Wow.
He walks, he strolls, he struts, and Jerome was with him with the mirror. So Titus, my dance is gonna be in here. I'm gonna strut. You're gonna come in, you're gonna be my Jerome.
Okay, I got
come in with the mirror, and that'll be it. But man, you're talking. I think he came in and he only did 3 songs at the beginning of dinner. But you talk about how to bring some excitement to what's going on. He brought it. He brought everything. It was fun.
Man, I should have been with you on that one.
Yeah, it was. And believe it or not, I can't get the song out of my head. I wonder why. Maybe it's because I hear it every morning at 8:00. Folks, today, as you heard from Annette and otherwise, there's a press conference beginning about now with Ben Crump, the parents of Nolan Xavier Wells, and all here in Chicago at the NAACP conference. We're going to find out from Annette what's going on in the headlines, what's in Black Information News, and we'll cover that for you when we come back after this.
A temperature drop in Chicago with temps topping out only in the low 70s on this Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines, several South and West Side residents are worried after Save-A-Lot grocery store announced the possible closure of all 7 locations. Later this morning, the results of an independent autopsy of 18-year-old Nolan Wells will be released at a news conference here in Chicago. And it's a busy day ahead at City Hall. Well, several line items will be discussed, including a new proposal to buy back the city's parking meters. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 8:01.
BIN News Now. Tax Texas is reporting a big decline in illegal border crossings, with officials saying encounters are down significantly from previous years. Ira Melman with the Federation for American Immigration Reform says even if migrants make it across the border, they're being sent back to Mexico.
As long as we keep doing this, we're going to see more and more people deciding it just isn't worth trying to break our laws.
Supporters of tougher immigration policies credit stricter enforcement. Chicago renters could see major changes as city leaders weigh two competing housing proposals. Supporters say the measures would strengthen protections for tenants, while critics warn they could increase costs for property owners and impact the rental housing market. And the Trump administration says UC San Diego's medical school improperly considered race and admissions decisions, alleging some Black and Latino applicants were favored over white and Asian students. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's more with Terry McCready.
President Trump says Iran desperately wants to meet. He made the comment while speaking in the Oval Office yesterday and added, no one has gone after Iran like he has.
One of the first things we did early in the administration, they would have a nuclear weapon and you wouldn't have Israel. And in my opinion, you wouldn't have various other countries in the Middle East. They'd all be gone.
This comes as the U.S. has conducted strikes on Iran for several nights straight. 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in Iranian attacks on bases in Jordan and Iraq over the weekend. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has claimed its aerospace force used cruise missiles to destroy Amazon's central data infrastructure in Bahrain in an attack that also targeted U.S. air defense systems. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in heated testimony yesterday with lawmakers on the Hill at issue Iran war funding.
Has Iran's military been for the last 4 months combat ineffective?
It's been set back not just years, but likely decades.
You stated we had, quote,
build at the level it did before and not even close. It doesn't mean it doesn't have capabilities.
Georgia Democratic Senator John Ossoff pressing Hegseth on his past statements about Iran's missile capabilities. During the hearing, Hegseth went on to blast his black predecessor, former Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, and the Biden administration's Pentagon priority, saying he didn't know what Austin did for 4 years, while arguing for a whopping $1.5 trillion defense budget. A judge in Los Angeles presented with disturbing evidence and graphic images yesterday during a hearing in the high-profile murder case against Black singer David. His legal name is David Anthony Burke, and he has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, sexual abuse of a child, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. The victim was 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose parents sat in the front row of the gallery during the proceeding. Prosecutors presenting evidence to try and convince the judge there is sufficient cause to send the case against the 21-year-old Burke to trial. The teen's remains were found in the trunk of a car registered in Burke's name last year. All right, a major announcement this week from Black Democratic Representative Cleo Fields of Louisiana. He says he will not be seeking re-election to Congress. He'll instead be running for Louisiana State Senate. This after the state's congressional map eliminated his district. The move follows the Supreme Court's ruling, which found Louisiana's majority Black 6th congressional district to be an unconstitutional racial gerrymander and ordered the state to adopt a new map. In a statement, Fields said he believes his calling to serve the people is better suited back home than in D.C. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
This report is brought to you by Dell Technologies. Back to school shopping starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core, so you can work from anywhere. Now from $699 with exclusive student pricing from $599. Find PCs built for you at Dell.com/deals.
Summer is here, the season of sunshine, swimming, picnics, and the freedom to have fun and enjoy yourself. United Fidelity Bank believes freedom starts with smart savings. Whether you're hanging with friends and family or enjoying a summer night, your money should still be working for you. Open a United Fidelity Bank 18-month certificate of deposit with a 4.25% annual percentage yield. It's a simple, steady way to grow your savings, letting your money work for you. At United Fidelity Bank, they focus on you, your needs, your goals, your questions. Their personal service is something you will not find at a big box bank. Get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Stop by their Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street to open your 18-month 4.25% APY CD today, or visit UnitedFidelity.com. United Fidelity Bank, where your summer of smart savings begins. Rate subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically at the standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
It's Cleopatra Draper.
But when you say certain things like that, it's just
I
not right.
know it's your show.
I know. That's why you called me.
I'm reading the article right here.
Yeah, but
article
you can read. But,
section 2.
Yeah, but as you're reading the Constitution, they are moving the goalposts. Bianca, you too old for this.
Nobody's moving the goalposts.
Oh, nobody's moving the goalposts? Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They definitely are. And you that big black hope on the 50-yard line saying, let me play.
Middays at 9 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello, Chicagoland. This is your main man, Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman. I'm inviting all of my friends, associates, and colleagues to tune in to WVON, the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM for the Tio, Mr. Ceasefire Hardiman Show. This show will cover all the hottest topics, including politics, reducing gun violence, and so much more, right here every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. Thank you.
This report is brought to you by Paramount Aurora Theater. Cedric the Entertainer will be live Saturday, August 8th at Paramount Theater in Aurora. Get your tickets now at ParamountAurora.com. That's ParamountAurora.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
These big changes happen quickly right now along the inbound side of the Ryan. You want to look out for an accident. It's blocking the two right lanes right before 87th Street, causing a chain of reaction of delays. That inbound trip now 25 minutes from 95th Street to downtown is also affecting what's happening along the Bishop Ford. We're registering an inbound travel time of 49 minutes. That's mainly because of that accident that's subject to change. Also, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, now a 27-minute trip in from I-80 to the Ryan. If you're on to Sabo Lakeshore Drive, you're looking at 16 minutes in from 67th Street to Jackson, slow right around Hayes, and again, right around Roosevelt Road. Hollywood to Monroe, now a 16-minute trip as well. Give yourself 50 minutes on the Stevenson in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 45 traveling out. Still just around an hour along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 45 on the return trip. And as you make your way along the Kennedy heavy in both directions, you're looking at a 45-minute trip still in from here to downtown, 45 traveling out. Taking a look at our weather, a break from the heat today on the mild side, but we're expected to see some sunshine today as temperatures climb near 73. Tonight, absolutely no AC, down to 60. Right now, we're looking at 64 at Midway, is 64 in Dalton, and 64 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Rufus Williams on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
This summer, experience live.
It's just one simple rule. I'm just cool. Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Hey. R-U-F-U-S. What's that spell? R-U-F-U-S. I'm just cool. Honey, baby, can't you see? Girl, I'm so cool. Ain't nobody bad like me. Sing it, baby. R-U-F-U-S. What's that stand? R-U-F-U-S. That spell cool. The audio audio genius. The audio genius. The audio genius.
Welcome back. We left space in today's show as the NAACP press conference talking about the autopsy results of Nolan Xavier Wells are to be announced this morning with his family, with attorney Ben Crump and all. Certainly, they're setting up for that. Our very own Logan Page is there in the space. But while we wait for that to happen, and then let's talk about Nolan Xavier Wells. It's been 2 weeks since his friends left him at this Horn Island in Mississippi. Share what you know. Let's just talk about who he is and what we should know about him.
So just to start with the investigation alone, you have civil rights attorney Ben Crump involved. Al Sharpton did the eulogy at the funeral. And one of the things that they both talked about was justice, and that there's not going to be a stone unturned. And they're going to really get to the bottom of this. And they started out with their own independent investigation, as well as their own independent autopsy to try to find out what happened to this young man. It reminds me a little bit. Do you remember the Gabby Petito story where the little, white girl and her fiance, they were campers, and she was missing, he was missing, and you had this community of campers start to help with the investigation. It seems like now that they've put out that Attorney Crump and Reverend Sharpton put out the call for help. If anybody's seen anything, say something. They're getting pictures. They're getting some feedback. People are starting to talk and about what they saw. TMZ just released footage from a video where they believe his back was turned, this person, but it looked like it could have been him. He was bent over. He had on shorts similar to wearing that it looked that he had on in other pictures that day. And so we're beginning to see some things surface. So the pieces are coming together. And what's going to be very telling are the results of this autopsy.
There's so much around here, and they haven't said that this is a race issue. They haven't said that it's not. What they said is they don't know, and they need to know these things. This investigation, which is taking now 2 weeks, and still not any information. So often what we learn, and so much, is that the body really gives you all the clues. And this autopsy is so important to hear what we learn and know what that is when this comes back. And they started to put a fair amount of money out around finding out what's going on too.
Yeah, $100,000. Reverend Sharpton, through the National Action Network, put up $100,000. Then Tyler Perry matched that, and that is a lot of incentive to get people to talk about what they saw and to share information. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening, and I'm looking at images over at the NAACP convention there in McCormick Place. And the room is filling up. People are, I don't see Logan on the screen here, but I'll look out for her. But they're setting up for this news conference. There's media there, of course, because this is, a major national, international story. You're seeing it on the BBC. And so, things are coming together. So I'm really looking forward to see what Attorney Crump is going to say, what the findings were from this autopsy. And, the evidence speaks for itself.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, we've broken out time to cover this morning. Without a doubt, there's a bit in getting this done. They are not under a time constraint, although we are. I've got another guest coming up at 8:30, so we'll cover it. Hopefully they'll give us some information before that. If not, as I mentioned, Logan Page, our afternoon news anchor, is on site, and she will share back with us what's going on. There have been different reports that are starting to come out from friends who were there, who are saying that one, and I'm going to mess up this name, is like Trayston Shepard, who said he was a friend of Wells and was on the island on the 4th of July, told ABC News that Wells met a young woman and wanted to stay behind. Crump said that the young woman and Wells decided to return with his friends. Horn Island is a designated wilderness area. It's undeveloped except for a small ranger station that has neither utilities nor commercial ferry service. So if you go there with your friend and you come back without him, how do you expect that he's going to get back?
It's interesting you say that. So I did see a report that boating community there on that island, they're all a network of people. So one person did say that it's not unusual that if you go there on one person's boat that you come back on somebody else's, because they all are one big community, one big boating community, and they all kind of help each other out in that regard. So I thought that was very interesting. And it kind of makes sense, if that's the truth, if that's how that community works. Boaters tend to have, I've hung out with boaters before, and they are, helpful to one another. They assist each other. We had a police officer here who rescued 4 people on a boat, and she was on her boat at the time. So that does kind of make sense.
So many different lessons to be learned from this. And one of the things that I know, and I learned this, if I never learned it any other time, but certainly from pledging, I learned you never leave a brother alone. You never leave. Somebody's always watching someone's back. So even in that situation, somebody's got to watch somebody to make sure that everybody comes back well. And if nothing was ever learned in any other way, this is a lesson that we now all know. You don't leave your friend behind. Let's take a quick break while we can. We'll be back talking about Nolan Xavier Wells. The press conference is happening at the NAACP conference here in Chicago any moment. We'll be back right after this.
This summer, experience live music under the stars at Ravinia, everybody. Gladys Knight, Brian McKnight are going to headline, and they'll be joined by Chance the Rapper and a special opening night gala performance featuring Lizzo with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. See great performances all season long, from legendary voices to hometown favorites. Ravinia brings unforgettable sounds to the summer stage. Get your tickets now at ravinia.org.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there, WVON.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken.
Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, the Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
This report is brought to you by Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
WVON, traffic and weather now.
All eyes on the inbound side of the Ryan after that earlier accident there at 87th Street. Apparently, those 2 lanes still remain blocked, causing some residual delays along both the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial. As you make your way along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, you are looking at about a 17-minute trip now from 67th Street to Jackson. Give yourself 18 minutes from Hollywood to Monroe. If you're on the Stevenson, 50 minutes still from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 40 traveling out. The Eisenhower still looking at an hour. From Thorndale to the Burns Circle outbound bumped up to 50 minutes. And if you're on the Kennedy, you're looking at almost 50 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, a 45-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, turning sunny at least, but on the milder side. Temperatures topping out in the low 70s today. 73 is our official high. We've been climbing nicely through the 60s so far this morning. Right now, we're looking at just about 64 degrees at O'Hare. It's 64 in Dalton and sunny and 64 here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
If you're not out of the bed yet, then what are you waiting for? It's the WVON Morning Show with Rufus Williams on 1690 WVON.
Welcome back. We're waiting for the beginning of the press conference at the NAACP, where Ben Crump, the parents of Nolan Xavier Wells and others will present the autopsy that was done on Nolan Xavier Wells, the 18-year-old who was out with friends on Horn Island on July 4th in Mississippi and never returned. They're talking about what the body will tell us of what has happened with this young man. I began this show talking about a sermon that I heard and that's available to you that was done by Pastor Dr. Howard John Wesley, who's the pastor of Alfred Street Baptist Church in Virginia. And his sermon, which you can get on YouTube if you look up Alfred Baptist Church, and Here We Go Again, was titled Here We Go Again. And Annette, in this sermon, he talks about the numbers of young Black people who have died in circumstances that haven't been investigated. And we come to this moment, and we come to this point, and we come to this young man. And in Mississippi, of all places, he just begins with here we go again. And it just seems that each time we've been here long enough that we have to pay attention and share and talk and report on these things. But it just seems like here we go again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is though, there's a different vibe with this one with Attorney Crump and with Reverend Al Sharpton. It's like, when these things happen, we just get smarter and our tolerance level, just goes down. It's not acceptable anymore. And there's too much in social media. There's too much technology. We know things now, and we're just not going to tolerate this. So Benjamin Crump is being very vigilant. They're showing their vigilance publicly by talking about it, sharing with the media, and then also putting up the kind of money that we see in cases similar to this outside of our community. So this one is a little different, and I think authorities understand that. When we're looking at independent autopsies, we're looking at, independent investigations. It's like, okay, you can do your thing. You can talk to who you want to talk to or not, but we're going to focus in on that. And they're coming true to their word. They're staying true to their word.
Yeah, and it's so important to do because as we continue to learn more, and they're very careful. They have not blamed anyone. They're asking questions and looking for this investigation to move, and it should move with a greater quickness in this. It was concerning on so many tangential pieces that, the stepmother of one of the people who was with Nolan Xavier Wells is a judge. This takes place in Mississippi. It has its own reputation. The parents talk about, the strength of this young man, and the father, when he's able, is speaking to what he taught his son. Whenever you get these kind of things happening, and when you get Ben Crump, and when you get Reverend Sharpton, you do that because you want to make sure that the light is shined on what is going on, and it's so critical that it's not silent. As we understand, the press conference is starting. Let's stand by.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Williams, Senior Vice President of Marketing Communications with the NAACP. We are here because a demand was made. A demand for transparency, a demand for answers, and a demand for ultimate justice on behalf of Nolan Wells. And that demand must be honored. Amen. For that, we are honored to pause even for a moment to respond accordingly here at our national convention. Momentarily, you will hear from renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who will provide updates on the findings of the independent autopsy that was conducted in the death of Nolan Wells. Immediately following that, we will take questions from credentialed media. We'll attempt to answer as many questions as we can. However, we want to be respectful of the fact that we do have additional programming that is going on to conclude our convention today as well. So we're asking that all press and media, if you're asking questions, please be concise, give your name, give your media credential, and we'll go from there. But before he comes, we will have the leader of the NAACP, President Derek Johnson, to give opening remarks. President Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. Far too often our young people are confronted with challenges, and many jurisdictions and states don't take those challenges serious. We cannot allow another individual, particularly a young Black man's death, go uninvestigated. We have seen this happen over the years, not only in Mississippi, but across the country. It is unfortunate that our young people only seek to enjoy life, and as a result of participating in activities, no longer have life. For the NAACP, we take this and many other cases serious because every person matters. I want to thank the Mississippi State Conference, particularly Alitra Perryman, for working with the family and supporting the family on the onset. Because it's difficult to lose a loved one, it's even more difficult to navigate a process when all eyes are on you. And the pressure of balancing between grieving and navigating is upon you. And so for the NAACP family, this is our role, is to step in, to support when the families have an issue like this, and the local officials seem not to hold people accountable. It's unfortunate when you see news reports and law enforcement officials are repeating what individuals are saying as opposed to investigate the individuals who gave you the information, because you don't know who was involved or not involved. Amen. And so narrative matters in this case. And we're saying that in Nolan Wells' situation, the narrative should not be it was an accident before there was an investigation. The narrative should not be the words of individuals who went on a boat to the island with him, but they came without him, but with his cell phone, and you don't investigate those individuals. We're not accusing anyone of anything other than the state of Mississippi or local officials. We're accusing them of being derelict in their duties. To follow up and to ensure that regardless of what happened, that there was the proper investigation so that this family and that community could be assured that if anyone was involved, they would be held accountable. And if it wasn't truly an accident, that the families will have the necessary answers that any family deserves in this situation. I want to bring to the podium Attorney Ben Crump, a friend of mine who have stepped in to take the case and in support of the family to ensure that they get the answers that they deserve, and that local officials and anyone involved will be held accountable to this family, to that system, because we are all parents, siblings, to loved ones who should not be confronted with this reality. Attorney Crump.
Thank you very much, President Derrick Johnson, for your leadership, for the leadership of the Mississippi Conference of NAACP, and being there during the homegoing services to help the family go through what no parents want to go through. Thank you to Chairman Leon Russell, my longtime mentor from Florida, who helped raise so many of us. Thank you for always being there, Chairman Russell. As President Johnson said, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, representing the family of Nolan Wells, but it's not just me, it is a team effort of incredible, dedicated lawyers and investigators and paralegals. Attorney Lisa Park, attorney who you'll hear from in a few minutes, Attorney Eric Hertz, Attorney Gary Buchan, Attorney Camila Moore, Cliff Jones, Jared Presson, Alan Williams, our whole team of people who are committed, as I said, President Johnson, on this ferocious search for the truth of what really happened to Nolan Wells. But before we begin to discuss the intricacies of the preliminary findings of the independent autopsy, we think it would be appropriate for you all to hear from the people who knew Nolan Wells best, so they can thank you themselves and tell you about the trials and tribulations that they have been enduring since July 4th. July 4th would never be the same for them. I bring to the podium Nolan Wells' mother and father, Christine and Elmore. Please give them a warm NAACP welcome.
First of all, I want to say thank you all so much. Thank you to President Johnson as well as Chairman Russell. This has been a difficult journey. Losing a child, it truly breaks your heart. It is a pain that is just, you can't measure it. Especially someone like Nolan, who brought so much joy and light and life to everyone. You don't find too many genuine people like him. So to lose that light at such a young age under these circumstances has been absolutely difficult, which is why we've gone this route. There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son. That is the only question. We have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone. And it's been difficult for us, but we are leaning into our faith, leaning into one another, also leaning into all of you. There are not enough thank yous, not enough appreciation for what you guys have done for us. And we do. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. And so it is our hope that our local authorities will do what they need to do, because us having the preliminary autopsy results and hearing nothing from them, it's heartbreaking and it's concerning, which again is why we are here, why we have asked for this help. So again, thank you all so much for your support. We appreciate you, we really do.
Every day I wake up, it's a new challenge. Knowing that a part of me I will never talk to, I will never hold, I will never play around with or get mad at, it's not here anymore. Nolan brought a lot of joy to our family. He was the wittiest one out of everyone. The clown. He loved to put in the work because he wanted to be the best. He wanted to make me and his mother proud, and we were so proud of him just for being the person that he was. He was loving. All his teachers knew him, but loved him. He walks in the room, his aura, you are automatically drawn to it. Never met an enemy. And if they were, they would eventually be friends, because they would eventually bond, and it's gonna be hard. He should be at football practice right now. Calling me out to practice, Dad, I made this play, or I made that play, or I get a text with 3 or 4 videos of him doing this, running this route, making this block. And what you think, what you think I should do? And I will give my honest, because I always tell them, if anyone is gonna be totally honest with you, it's gonna be me. It's not because I'm being mean, but people outside your family are gonna tell you what you wanna hear. I'm gonna tell you what you need to know to make you better. It's gonna be hard for our family from here on out. And like I said, every day is a challenge. We're gonna miss our son. And like my wife said, we just want honesty. We want to know what happened to our son, because the things that you're telling us, that's not the character of our son. We know our son. I understand, our children would do things that, they would kind of dumbfound us sometimes, but the things that we're being told, there wasn't Nolan. So please keep us in your prayers, keep him in your prayers. And we're gonna keep pushing and fighting until we find answers. Thank you guys for your love and support.
Thank you so much, Christine and Nolan. I have Christine and Elmore, Nolan's mother and father. Before we start to go over the preliminary findings from the independent autopsy, we will hear from Attorney Lisa Park to tell you about who was the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy. Attorney Lisa Park.
Thank you. Dr. Roger Meshell could not join us today, but we felt it important before we reveal and unfold this report that you understand who conducted this autopsy. Dr. Roger Meshell is a physician and board-certified forensic pathologist with 2 decades of experience. He currently serves as the president of the National Medical Association, which is the oldest and largest group of Black physicians in the U.S. Most recently, he also served as president of Howard University Hospital, chief medical officer of the Howard University Faculty Practice Plan, and chair of the Department of Pathology. Before joining Howard, he served as chief medical examiner for Washington, D.C. from 2014 to 2021, and is later as interim deputy mayor for the Public Safety and Justice. Dr. Meshell has conducted and managed thousands of autopsies and is nationally recognized for his work at the intersection of medicine, public health, and justice. And for this case, we sought out the very best, and we are proud to be working with the very best.
Thank you, Attorney Park. I again want to express our gratitude to President Johnson, Chairman Russell, and the NAACP, because civil rights is more important than ever in the United States of America today. And so we thank you for the civil rights leaders stepping up to say that our children's lives matter now more than ever. And I want to thank all of you for getting up 8 in the morning. If people could see how many people are gathered here, they would say, you all are truly blessed to have the support of America, Christine and Elmore. And I want to thank the media for covering this matter, because they don't always cover when our children are taken away from us in highly unquestionable ways. And I do understand there's a lot of news going on in America today. I woke up to them saying LeBron James is going to announce where he's going to play basketball next year. But I'm very happy that the media said this story is just as important. And I'm sure LeBron James and Rich Paul and Stephon Curry and Draymond Green, Jaylen Brown, Embiid, Maxey, Giannis, Bam, and many other players in the National Basketball Association will all agree that our children's lives are far more important than where LeBron or any other player will play next year. And so that's why I thank you all for being here, because this news is as important as any news in the United States of America, finding out why is Nolan Wells dead. And I want to thank you all who have called the call center. I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton. I want to thank Mr. Tyler Perry. I want to thank Mr. Terry Owens for putting up the $125,000 reward for anybody out there who have information so we can get to the truth of what happened. I mean, any videos, and we've gotten so many videos, President Johnson, from that day from young people, and we want them to have the courage to come forward with the pictures, what you heard. I know people said there were a lot of disturbances out there. Some believe it involved Nolan. All of those things are important to get to the truth of what happened. The fact, Christine, that the United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something. So, Scott X, we're trying to just make sure people understand that you can call the Nolan Wells tip line at bencrump.com. We will gladly listen to you, take any information as we try to put together this puzzle of what happened to Nolan Wells. And today, we're gonna add some more parts to this puzzle because my legal team and I, we stand for truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or it acquits. Yeah, and we stand for transparency because we got eyes that can see, and we don't need government officials having to narrate it for you and me. We can see it for ourselves. Transparency. That leads to the truth. The truth is the foundation for accountability and justice. And that's all we're seeking, as Christina Elmore said from day one. So with that, and Christina Elmore, if you all want to sit, we're about to go through this autopsy, and I know it may be a little emotional. Thank you, President. You're welcome to stay right here. You got the pointer? Let's go through this. How does the pointer work? Okay, let me do that right now. How does this pointer?
We'll continue to watch the press conference where they are releasing the autopsy on the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Ben Crump is here. He is about to give remarks about that. We've heard from the family. We'll stay here for as long as we can.
This is the first start. Let's go with the first one. Put it right on. So, where's the page up? Put this one in the far end. I need the second page. That's the real one. Give me this picture. Give me this.
As they're organizing the charts to show, there's a lot of press in the room as they are doing this. It's being covered in a number of different places. I saw some of it being covered on CNN as well. So they're currently putting together the charts to show what happened with this young man as they question what the investigation is. So the silence you hear is just the putting together of the charts as they begin to speak.
This one here. Put this closer. So, put this up here. So, Dr. Roger Mitchell, board certified forensic pathologist, performed a preliminary report on the death of Nolan Xavier Wells. He conducted and presented this report on July 19th 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation. And we'll explain that as we go through the report this morning. The manner of death, undetermined, pending investigation. Statement of examination. This forensic pathologist was retained to perform a second autopsy examination on the body of Nolan Xavier Wells. Name of decedent, Nolan Xavier Wells, age 18 years old, race, black, gender, male, date of death, unknown. Second autopsy date was performed on July 10th, 2026. Preliminary findings, and this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time. He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation. He said coronal incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed, as is common, accompanied in the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they're dissected and examined, and then they're put back in a bag within inside the body. So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them. But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well. Very significant for Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body. And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy. And we'll go into the paragraphs on that there because he explains it better in his narrative. So where's the first page of the discussion? Not the diagram yet. You can keep the diagram over there. Move this back, Lisa. So he talks in the preliminary discussion opinion. This forensic pathologist identifies several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination. What he's saying, because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body when he received it on the 10th of July. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic, dissection of the subcutaneous and deep soft tissue, dissection of the back, the buttocks, the arms, and legs. He did all of this to rule out things. He ruled out there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. This was very important because he wanted to be very thorough and very transparent, because transparency is the key to getting to the answers of why Nolan Wells is not with us. So he did that there and was very straightforward, very open, very open. He says, however, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of rare discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlaying the occipital bone. And he talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head? And so he was important to note that in his report. He said that etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that the finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissection were not performed. He said another limitation, move this back here. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. So he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. And so let's discuss that with what he said about that. He said, it is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures during an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. He said, nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death. He said he would need to have the medical examiner in Mississippi allow him to review the throat. That's why he said his autopsy is undetermined pending investigation. Remember, it's about transparency. Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and the lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents.
This is Rufus Williams. We'll continue with this coverage. I'm signing off. I will see you all tomorrow.
What the initial forensic scientists who got to review the body when it was recovered, we have heard from my call center people saying the body wasn't waterlogged. Well, we need to know those things. But unfortunately, because the body was decomposed and the organs have already been dissected, those are things we can only get from the initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation. We are hopeful that the Mississippi Medical Examiner would give Dr. Mitchell an opportunity to see their photographs and their observations to the condition of Nolan Wells' body closer in time to July 4th. That is very important, and we have to continue to demand transparency, President Johnson. In addition, the original toxicology results have not been received at the time of this report. And we continue to wait for the toxicology to come back because, again, that will be part of the investigation into Nolan Wells' autopsy by Dr. Mitchell. It is significant to note that there's many things that go into toxicology that only Dr. Mitchell would be able to opine upon, and medical experts can opine upon. And he feels the proper place to do that is before a grand jury in a courtroom. And so we would hope that the district attorney would present Dr. Mitchell before the grand jury as well. We want all relevant information to be heard by the grand jury. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water, this is important. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This is the crux of the matter. This information is especially important for those deaths of persons who can swim. As in the case with Nolan Wells, at the time of this report, this forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water. He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water. He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death. He said, definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, and let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand, he's saying based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant. With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed. Number three, was there water in the airway? Remember, he talked about the lungs and the airways, were they filled with water? Number four, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck at the time of the second autopsy. Number five, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe. Number six, was the composition of what was the composition of the stomach contents? He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors when you're trying to do a thorough and impartial autopsy. And number seven, what are the toxicology report findings? He said the best classification again for the cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells is undetermined pending investigation. This forensic pathologist reserves the right to review and incorporate additional forensic pathology information into his opinion as it becomes available. He says the above opinions are expressed to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell, July 19, 2026. And we know that, as I said, this is only another part of the puzzle. And even though it tells us significant information, we still have more questions than we have answers at this time. And we will continue to press forward and persist, Christine and Elmore, with getting the answers to these questions. Because yes, we will persist, because as Christine and Elmore and Attorney Parker and I talked this morning, we know that there are so many conflicting stories. The fact that she said him being found face down, the fact that we have other videos where people who have called said that is Nolan, who is in some kind of dispute with others. We're looking at all of these things. The fact that the GPS tracking of the boat is being questioned by many. We're trying to dot every I and cross every T, because we understand that when our children's lives are at stake, it matters. Not just what happened, but what we do in the aftermath of them being taken away from us. And just like the NAACP stood up when another tragedy in Mississippi taking the life of young Emmett Till, we will stand up for Nolan Wells. Just like the NAACP and civil rights leaders stood up when another Mississippi son was taken in Medgar Evers. We will stand up for Nolan Wells. And just like too many of our young people, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Botham Jean, Terrence Crutcher, Stephon Clark, Sandra Bland, Atiana Jefferson, Alton Sterling, Eric Gardner, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, the young people who I was trying to focus on. Gary, we stand up until we get the truth, until we get justice for Nolan Wells. 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 So we were asked if Christine and Elmore and President Johnson can come back and join us on the stage, and Trevor, we will have you coordinate questions and answers for us or President Johnson or Attorney.
Shop small with Wintrust Bank and celebrate the heart of our community, our local businesses. Listen as we share a list of small businesses throughout our community.